Good afternoon, everybody. Shavua Tov. Welcome to a new week and welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm Raleen Marks, your host, bringing you those top stories from Israel and surrounds every Monday to Thursday, whether you are viewing us on Facebook at Lottle's site or on our YouTube channel at the Israel Brief. Please like us, share us, subscribe, click, you know what to do. And it's not just the weather that's a scorcher today, it is also the latest news. Do we or don't we have a government? In a very, very dramatic announcement last night, Naftali Bennett took to the airwaves to announce that his Yamina party will be entering into a coalition with the more centrist party Yesh Atid, chaired by Yair Lapid. Well, of course, this is quite controversial because this could spell the end of Prime Minister Netanyahu, who would go into the opposition as its leader. Now, of course, Bibi Netanyahu has been the longest running Prime Minister in Israel's history, and as is expected, this has been met with quite a lot of concern. Will we have a right-wing government? Will we have a left-wing government? Which way are we going? Well, at the moment, and it's not finalized yet, if this coalition goes forward, Israel has a unity government. The government will bring together elements of the political echelon from the center to the left and on the right, which basically makes up a reflection of Israeli society. So while we are still speaking now, there are negotiations underway. We do know that Avigdor Lieberman and Benny Gantz are haggling over the agricultural portfolio. Some of the portfolios we do know that will likely be afforded to some of our party leaders will be Benny Gantz will retain his role as the Minister of Defense. It is likely that Yair Lapid will be the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Naftali Bennett will be the Prime Minister on a rotation basis with Yair Lapid. It is highly likely that Avigdor Lieberman will get the Treasury and that Ayelet Shaked will get the Interiors portfolio. So a lot of exciting negotiations, a lot of talking happening as we speak, and it is expected that an announcement, a final announcement, will take place in 1 to 2 days' time. In the meantime, straight after Bennett made his announcement, our Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu took to the airwaves to also make an announcement, and he called this the biggest fraud, or accused Naftali Bennett of perpetuating the biggest fraud on Israeli voters and selling them out on a whim. So like things always are in Israel, a lot of drama, a lot of conjecture, and we are very curious to see how we proceed. This could be one of the most fragile coalitions or governments in Israel's history because it is made up of so many diverse viewpoints, and one does not envy the head of the coalition who is going to have to manage this very, very carefully. But one thing is for sure, Israel needs a strong and solid government in place. There is a lot of healing to do internally. There is a lot of work to be done. Those important budgets need to be passed. Ministries need to get to work, and we need to deal with the ever-encroaching security situations. And speaking of security situations, yesterday, for the first time in 13 years, our Foreign Minister, Gabi Ashkenazi, who will be stepping out of politics as soon as a new government is sworn in, he became the first foreign minister or first Israeli minister in 13 years to visit Egypt. He was there to meet with his Egyptian counterpart. They spoke about the ceasefire that is currently still holding between Hamas and Israel. They also spoke about the strengthening of bilateral ties between Israel and Egypt, and we would love to see a situation between our two countries similar to the situations we have now between Israel and Bahrain or the UAE, where it is not just a peace treaty but also one of friendship and goodwill. The Foreign Minister reiterated that one of our key demands is the return of captives that are still in the Gaza Strip. They are Avera Mengistu and Hisham al-Sayed, the two civilians, and the bodies of our fallen soldiers Hadar Golden and Oron Shaul. Now, at the same time, the head of intelligence for Egypt was in Israel meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu, and they spoke about security issues in the region, also the ceasefire and Israel's commitment to helping to rebuild Gaza as long as that doesn't go through Hamas, as long as this doesn't empower Hamas. And the Prime Minister as well, echoing the words of his Foreign Minister, reiterated the importance of returning our captives home to Israel. And as we speak, Egyptian officials are now in the Gaza Strip meeting with Hamas leadership to maintain the ceasefire. And our last story of the day is good news for Israelis. Have we finally seen the end of the COVID-19 pandemic? Well, it looks highly likely, as yesterday only 4 new cases were diagnosed, and the Health Ministry announced that all remaining business restrictions, with the exceptions of indoor masks, but that could be lifted within the next couple of weeks, will be lifted, and that it is highly likely that within the next few weeks, Israel will be vaccinating 12 to 15-year-olds. And this is welcome news for the country indeed. So those are your top stories in the region and in Israel today. Don't forget to check out our content online at www.layoftheland.online. We have My Debate, if you can call it that, with Naim Gina on Islam TV that took place last week, as well as very interesting analysis from our resident legal eagle, Craig Snoyman, on Sheikh Jarrah. That will be up pretty soon. If you missed it on our website, don't worry, our Facebook page has got you covered. You can find us at Luttle's site. Please join our community by liking us or following us and share our content. Get Israel's side of the story out to the masses. We know we complain about that mainstream media and their lack of balanced coverage. Also, don't forget our YouTube channel at the Israel Brief. Click on that red subscribe button and follow us on Twitter, where we're also very active at Lay of the Land 5. That's at Lay of the Land 5. So with the Monday edition of the Israel Brief, I'm Rolene Marks, wishing you a safe and healthy rest of your day, and we'll chat again tomorrow.